The Florida real estate boom is over. Inventory is starting to spike. The prices are coming down. And yes, foreclosures are back. But not every market here in Florida is feeling it the exact same. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 cities that are feeling it the worst and probably will continue to feel it the worst here throughout the remainder of 2025. But on the flip side, I'm going to give you a market that is holding strong. And if you're considering a move to Florida, it's probably worth considering. Hi, I'm Ryan Zakos. Welcome back to our channel, Florida relocation experts here on the Gulf Coast. I started this firm with my father, who retired from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office after 25 years of service, and we've had the honor and privilege of helping hundreds of people relocate here to the Gulf Coast of Florida. If throughout this video you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, please drop a note. Please reach out via text, via email, phone call. We are always available to help and would love to be a resource for you. Let's dive into the video. For this video, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a couple trends that we like to look at in real estate. I'm going to look at price decreases, the amount of inventory, and how many sales. Is the sales volume decreasing year over year? Those are kind of the markers that I will dictate, and I'm going to look at every single county here in the state of Florida to be able to determine what I think are the softest currently, but then will also continue to be soft based off of exposure and other things going on. So what's happening statewide? What we're seeing statewide is we're seeing an uptick of inventory of about 23% statewide. We're seeing the first price declines in most metro areas in the state of Florida in about 13 years or so. So as a state, Florida is feeling it, but there are these certain markets that are feeling it worse. So let's dive into number 5. All right, so number 5, St. Lucie County, Port St. Lucie. I'm gonna fly through these, so keep up. They're all have different little indicators, and the whys are a little bit different for each area, but I'm gonna explain that. We'll walk right through it. So the first thing is St. Lucie. Back in 2022, post-pandemic, we know that a lot of people flooded here to the state of Florida. St. Lucie was no different. There's a lot of retirees. There were empty nesters, young professionals that had the ability to work remotely, choosing St. Lucie as a destination. This drove house prices way up. In fact, analysts believe that St. Lucie is the most overvalued county in the state of Florida, up to probably 40%. This is because the local income can't justify the house prices as well as the rental market there in St. Lucie County and Port St. Lucie. So that is, in my opinion, a bubble that we're starting to bust. So we're seeing prices come down. We're seeing inventory stack up. We're seeing over 6 months of inventory there. A balanced market's about 5. Anything right at 5 would be a market that's healthy, that's slowly going up. Anything under that will be a market that is a seller's market that is driving higher prices. And then anything above that will be a buyer's market. It's soft, very negotiable, and prices will eventually come down. We're starting to see that inventory tick up over 6. We're seeing prices come down. We're starting to see that bubble starting to burst, and it will continue to be soft here throughout 2025. As for number 4, we're going to talk about Lee County. Lee County is number 4. This includes Cape Coral and Fort Myers. These two areas got hurt really hard after the hurricane. Again, that post-COVID influx of buyers, and this was a very big hotspot for people relocating to the area. They drove up prices, and we saw post-hurricane. From that post-hurricane, not only we saw devastation, flooding, everything else, but we saw higher insurance costs. So this what already led to how high house prices in the area. There was some overvaluing of home values there, led to higher insurance costs, and that higher insurance cost has become now a little bit more unaffordable in the area, which is leading to huge inventory, lowering prices. In fact, Lee County is down about 8% on the home values, and it's actually the largest out of any metro in the state of Florida, and it is the worst since the Great Recession. There are about 25% fewer homes selling. And an interesting fact for Lee County is the fact that 34% of the current homes in the market have already had a price decrease. So for number 4 in Lee County, it is not looking good, and it will continue to slip probably here through the remainder of 2025. Number 3, let's talk about Pinellas County. This includes St. Pete, Clearwater, and all the areas there around St. Pete. In Pinellas County, we're at an 8-year high of inventory, about 5,600 listings. Inventory is up 33%, sales are down 13%, and we're starting to continue to see inventory stack up, prices starting to slip. And I think for unlike places like St. Lucie and Fort Myers, where you're competing with new construction, and unlike St. Lucie and unlike Lee County and the differences of why those markets are softening, Pinellas is a little bit different in the fact that this is actually an older, more established area. There is a lack of new construction. Because of that older, just like Lee County, the insurance costs are higher. So typically on new construction homes, Your insurance costs are a lot more reasonable than an older home. Pinellas County is largely made up of older homes and often low-lying areas. So there's a lot of areas in Pinellas County where flood insurance is required too. There's also some areas in Pinellas County that actually had flooding during these last hurricanes of last season. So this has made people want to move, get out while the prices is still high. And so we're seeing the inventory packets stack up. We're seeing the prices come way down for Pinellas County. And it seems like a lot of people are opting for newer construction. So some of those suburbs around Tampa or even the greater Sarasota area and stuff like that. So that's why St. Pete, Pinellas County is number 3. And that leads us to number 2, which is Polk County. Think in Polk County, Lakeland, and the areas around Lakeland. Polk County as a whole is the number 1 foreclosure county in the whole United States as of late 2024. There's about 1 in every 172 homes that have filed for foreclosure, and that is more than double the national average. So a crazy thing about this metro is obviously we know Tampa is a hot spot. The metros around or the suburbs around Tampa is a hot spot for relocation buyers. Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills, all these areas around Tampa are great hotspots for new construction and people relocating here from out of state. As we get into Lakeland, it's outside of Tampa and Polk County. This was a frenzy back in 21-22 for new construction. And then these builders took great advantage of it. In fact, back in 2022, there were over 200,000 permits pulled in Polk County. This was obviously far more than the demand called for the county. And since 2022, those houses were built in 23, 24, and we're starting to see these homes just sit. As the demand is not there, it's not eating up that inventory. And so that is leading to a drastic price reduction and obviously foreclosure on some of these people that did buy in early at a high price, and they're sitting backwards on the new construction homes. So as for Polk County, this combination of oversupply and financial distress puts great downward pressure on the market. The impact on homeowners is imminent. There are homeowners that are backwards in equity, and obviously the future buyers are hesitant because they see the foreclosures, they see these price decreases, and that's why Polk County is number 2 on my list. So now on to number 1, Osceola County. Osceola County is Kissimmee, St. Cloud, and it's just sitting geographically north of Orlando proper. This is actually a similar story to what we see in Polk County. During that boom, we saw tons of new construction come in, and that new construction has bred to tons of inventory that we're still seeing in this current market. So we're still seeing inventory come up, inventory up. In fact, we have such massive new home oversupply in the area that it's actually setting records on the state level. So that oversupply is leading to now price decreases. And at the same time, it seems like the buyer pool is drying up as well because the transactions, the number of sales have decreased significantly in the last year as well. The county as a whole is overbuilt in relation to supply. So that means that prices will continue to slide and probably slide further throughout the remainder of 2025. It is because of all these factors is what leads me to put Osceola, Kissimmee, St. Cloud, number 1 on the list. So what do we do with this information? It is understandable to hear this and to be skeptical and not want to purchase in Florida as a whole right now, and especially in these counties. But I will say this, that real estate is local and not all markets are hit exactly the same. There are markets that have limited supply or even less supply. Their value is holding strong, and they do not see these factors that these other 5 counties that I just mentioned have. As a whole, these 5 counties and these 5 areas are actually like sisters or brothers to larger metros in the area. If you think about it, Port St. Lucie or Lee County, Lee County is just outside of Naples. If we look at Lakeland, just outside Tampa, if we look at Osceola, just outside Orlando, all these are areas that have been historically less desirable than being in that metro area in the proper. So when people are moving to Tampa because of economy, because of job, because of location, Lakeland is the offshoot. It's been historically cheaper, more affordable, allowing people to get into the market at a more affordable rate. As that affordability got drove up because of that influx of people, new construction, things like that, it has now led to oversupply and prices to be coming down. There are areas that I would recommend throughout the state of Florida. One of those areas is an area where I reside. I was born and raised in Sarasota. Sarasota County has historically been a very desirable hotspot for everyone, for retirees, for young professionals, for young families. One reason why I feel like Sarasota County has held its value, will continue to hold its value, is Sarasota County is the number 1 school district in the state of Florida. That's a huge attribute to Sarasota County that will be desirable for young families to make that move, especially from a state to state concept year over year. Another reason why is Sarasota County arguably has the best beaches, and Siesta Key, the #1 beach in the whole entire country. This has led to the lifestyle of Sarasota County being so much more desirable than a lot of other counties, especially these counties that are inland. Counties that are like Polk County or Osceola, they are hour plus to the beach, and people are moving to Florida because they do want that outdoor lifestyle. They want that beach within a close driving distance where they can access and especially watch the sunset here on the West Coast on the daily. Also, here in Sarasota County, there are new construction options, but new construction isn't the primary focus in Sarasota County. There's new construction in communities like Lakewood Ranch and Wellen Park, but honestly, places like Wellen Park and Parrish, where there's a lot of new construction, are being hit harder than some of these resale markets here in Sarasota County where it's more desirable. You want to be in an area that I think is super underrated would be newer homes, not new construction homes, but newer homes that are outside flood elevation. So you get lower insurance costs that are still give you great access to the beaches and downtown Sarasota and all the restaurants and lifestyle that the area brings. So if you focus not on new construction, because those are the areas that seem like they're being hit the hardest because of all the inventory, and you focus on location, like they say in the old adage of real estate, but focus on location with a little bit newer construction, because you don't want to hit with those high insurance costs of those older homes, in a good location in proximity to the things that people want, the lifestyle that people want. Downtown Sarasota, restaurants, the opera, the Van Wezel Performing Arts, Osceola Theater, things like that. So in location to that, in proximity to that, closest to the beach, so Lido, Siesta. One area that I absolutely love here in Sarasota County is like the Palmer Ranch area. This is a master plan community that is new construction's pretty much done. There's a new construction community called Talent Preserve. It is west of I-75, so it's very desirable in the fact that you're just literally miles to Siesta Key, miles to Nokomis Beach, depending on where you fall in Palmer Ranch. But I love that because you get newer homes, larger lots, all elevated pretty much out of the flood zone. I don't think there's any community in Palmer Ranch that's in a flood zone. So you get all those amazing benefits while being close to the beach in the heart of Sarasota. So that's one example, but there are a ton of other communities around Sarasota County and even other counties that kind of fit that bill. Just be careful in choosing where you want to be, because ultimately this is where you're going to be doing life. And also, if you are planning on being there for a long, long time, you want to make sure you're buying into something that's going to be sustainable and strong going forward regarding your home values and pricing. So that's a wrap for today. If you have any questions at all, I would love to speak to you. I'd love to help you. Shoot me a text, shoot me a call, shoot me an email. I'm available. I would love to be a resource for you in this relocation journey. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. I just want to pop on real quick and tell you a little bit about who I am and who we are here at Zackos Realty and Design Group. I'm Ryan Zackos, as you heard throughout the video. I was born and raised here in Sarasota. I currently live with my family in Lakewood Ranch. Started this firm with my father about 8 years ago or so. We have an office in downtown Sarasota and downtown Venice. He actually lives on Venice Island. My father relocated here from Michigan, and it was his first career out of college at Michigan State, was a police officer here in Sarasota County at the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. My mom relocated here from New Jersey when she was actually a child, so they have both relocated here from out of state, but it afforded me the opportunity to actually be born and raised here. So I spent my first 18 years living in Sarasota proper, and then now with my family, we live in Lakewood Ranch. I absolutely love everything about the Gulf Coast of Florida. I've worked in St. Pete, I've worked in Tampa, I lived in Sarasota. My parents currently live in Venice Island. I have sold a lot of stuff in Wellen Park. I'm passionate about this area, and I think that it offers an unbelievable lifestyle that is unparalleled to anything else in the state of Florida, let alone the country. I do think that being born and raised here, it provides me the opportunity to provide insight into communities, into areas that a lot of agents don't know. There are a lot of agents, there's 10,000 plus agents here locally, and a lot of those agents actually aren't from here or haven't lived here that very long at all. So being from here, I have had the privilege of building relationships with tons and tons of vendors in every industry you could think of, but then also just having that intimate knowledge of each community and each area, whether it's a pocket of Sarasota or a pocket of Venice or Lakewood Ranch, whatever that consists. I do think that I can provide that value in great detail for you and help you in understanding what your relocation goals are and helping you achieve that in what kind of home and community you want to ultimately be in. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions at all. I would love to be a resource for you, and I hope I can meet you one day. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
you.